here are my 9 tips for a better car photography. Hey, what's going on YouTube? My name is Mo and I'm a car photographer from Bahrain. Now if it's your first time around my channel, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on all the awesomeness that I create every week. Now before we start, I'd like to hear from you. What are your challenges when it comes to car photography? Please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Alright, tip number 1, get to know the car. Get to know the subject. Get to know what are you about to shoot. Get to know the color, the shape, the curvature. Is it a bright car or a dark one? Is it a matte or a glossy? And how will it interact with light? All of that is important before heading out to a shoot. And that will determine 2 main things. One is where you're going to shoot it and how you're going to shoot it. I often find myself Googling the car ahead of the time of the shoot. And mainly I would like to see how it was shot previously, what have worked and what didn't work. And maybe even coming up with a different shot. So it's very important to get to know what you're shooting. Alright, tip number 2, get a good camera. And I know this is up for a debate and a lot of you have been asking me about the best camera for car photography. And to me, this is what defines a good camera. So get something within your budget or won't break the bank. Buying a very expensive camera won't make you a better photographer. Get a camera that is compatible with the lenses that you are going to buy and maybe the accessories that comes with it. And of course factor in other things that are you going to shoot video with it? Will you require slow motion, 4K, or just 1080p? And I need to iterate this. Buying an expensive camera won't make you a better photographer. I've seen a lot of photographers that are using very basic cameras with a kit lens, yet they squeeze amazing images out of it. Get a camera that you're comfortable with. Alright, tip number 3, get a CPL filter to cut out reflections. Cars are just like mirrors, they reflect everything on their way. Using a CPL filter will definitely cut out most of the reflections, and you need to get comfortable with this as well. Try it, see how it works, experiment with it. Now let me show you what a photo would look like with and without a CPL filter. And what you're looking at here is definitely without a CPL filter. Once you attach the CPL filter and rotate it, magic. Alright, tip number 4, shoot at the right time of the day. I mainly schedule my shoots mainly at the golden hour when either the sun is about to rise or the sun is about to go down. And what you see here with the kicks, that's perhaps was about 5 or 6 a.m. early in the morning. And as you can see from this shot, it results in a very soft light across the car. I haven't used any external lighting for this. And this is mainly straight out of the camera, and this is how it looks after the editing. Shooting middle of the day will definitely result in harsh highlights and harsh shadows, and you want to mainly avoid that. Now, if you want to still shoot in the middle of the day, find a shaded area. Let me show you an example of this. And that would be the Porsche GT3 RS. And we've basically positioned the car in between 2 walls, and the light was bouncing off the walls, creating that soft light on the car. I didn't use any external lighting for this. Now here's another example of the golden hour shoot. And as you can see, the light is very soft across the car. So moral of the story, pick the right time to shoot the car. Alright, tip number 5, extend your focal length. What I noticed new photographers do is they physically get too close to the car, just right here, using a very wide angle, and they would shoot the car. Now we've all done that before, and unless if it's a creative direction, I would suggest that you get closer to the car by extending your focal length, meaning that you physically get away from the car and use your focal length to get closer to the car. Now if you look closely to my photos, I mainly shoot at the focal length of 35 and above on a full frame sensor. So let's take this shot as an example. I shot it at a focal length of 105. And this one was shot about a focal length of 80 or 85. And this Dodge was shot about a focal length of 50. So extend your focal length and experiment with it. If you haven't seen my video about the best lens for car photography, I'll leave it in the description below. Alright, so tip number 6, understand light and the quality of light and how to shape it, especially if you're using flash or strobes to light up the car. Understand how it affects the car, where you should position the flashes and the strobes. Understand the modifiers that comes on these strobes and how they affect the color of the car. And that requires a lot of experimentation and a lot of trial and error until you nail it right. But once you do, it will change your photos for good. Alright, so tip number 7, train your eyes and get the composition right in camera. And that requires also a lot of practice. And not to mention the way you position the car. Understand the different angles that you can position the car at. Whether it's a front, side, front quarter, or back shot. Now understand every car is kind of unique when it comes to looks. Find the right angle for that car and shoot it. Right, so now that you are this amazing photographer, car photographer, and you've got everything right in camera, now it's time to get some Photoshop skills under your belt. And I know many of you fear the use of Photoshop, and you don't have to do that. Yes, Lightroom is amazing, but Lightroom is limited to what it can do when it comes in comparison to Photoshop. And here's the thing about Photoshop, you can find zillions of tutorials on how to do things on YouTube. So don't be afraid of using Photoshop. Alright, so here's why you should use Photoshop, and as you can see from this example here, this is a shot that I perhaps shot a year ago, and it was, I don't know, I would say it's a boring shot. And with Photoshop, I was able to take that boring shot and transform it into, I would say, a really moody, nice, great, lovely shot. And you wouldn't be able to do so just by using Lightroom. So get comfortable with Photoshop. Alright, now here we are in the last step, and it's fairly simple. Experiment, fail, and fail a lot. Don't be afraid of failing. Don't be afraid of taking a car, coming back with awful photos. I've done that a lot. I came back with photos like, no, it was really terrible. So don't be afraid of failing. Failing is good. You will learn a lot from failing. Follow other car photographers, ask them questions, be curious. And as we approach the end of this video, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what are the challenges that you face when it comes to car photography, and don't forget to subscribe. Alright YouTube, it's getting noisy in there with all the kids playing around. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you in the next video.